we're gonna keep going, huh? Okay.
I think one of them would be all right. We can see that pretty well.
Okay. All right, guys. Hi, my name is Joey Stamari, and today I'll be presenting the digital age revolution of filmmaking and digital technology revolutionizing the shift for traditional filmmakers. So I want to start off by, when you guys think about the digital age, what comes to mind? Anybody? Like
Facebook.
Anybody else?
DSLRs.
Anybody else?
Robotic dinosaurs.
That's a good one. Well, for me, it's today I'm going to talk about filmmaking, which is okay, traditional filmmaking is where I'm going to start. So traditional filmmaking, back in the day, they used to, it's analog, so it's called analog. So they would have to shoot like the film. They had a certain amount before they could even, and that's it. And so it was a long and hard process. So filmmakers had more, like they really had to think about their shots. And so, but now we're at the digital age, which pretty much like everything you can do after you shoot it. So you can fix problems, and then now we have a capacity of dumping the footage into computers so that we'll have more room. And so the digital age is slowly like, it's growing, and it's becoming more of an impact for filmmakers and for everybody else because it's becoming more useful for everybody. We can do it in our phones. We can buy these objects. So I want to start out with a quote. There's no doubt that, by Robert Sickles, there's no doubt that the industry is undergoing knee-high, unprecedented seismic shifts, and no one is certain where it will go and how it will get there and what it will look like. So once it reaches its mature phase of the digital age, it's now entering. So pretty much everything's always there's always gonna be new things and new innovations, and we don't know when it's gonna stop. So here's a little video. Keanu Reeves is gonna tell you guys a little about the digital age.
Are you done with film?
Don't hold me to it, Keanu, but I think I am.
We are going through a very significant and large transition in cinema. And the digital process democratizes the whole thing.
I think without digital video, I don't think I ever would have been making movies.
There's going to be a shift. Film is going away. This digital world, this digital way of making films was going to be everything. And to me, it was the digital camera was really arriving. And so I turned to Chris and I was like, do you want to go on this expedition? Do you want to investigate this question? And, is film dead? What is the impact of digital cinema? And he said, yes.
There isn't yet a superior or even an equal imaging technology to film, but we're being forced into transition. You can't shoot 3D on film.
The documentaries are kind of behind the scenes, which was for me a behind the scenes as well, getting to talk with the cinematographers and directors and technical people in editing and visual effects and stuff. So you kind of come with me through this expedition.
I remember George Lucas putting together everybody about 10 years ago at a conference he gave at the ranch up in San Francisco. And when objections arose about the idea that digital would put an end to the art of cinematography, he pointed out it's just another tool.
George Lucas is like Zeus. Editing, sound, the camera, projection, ILM, visual effects, software, computing. I mean, it's like everything, you kind of go, anywhere you go, it like comes back to George. And, it's like, it can't pop. Oh, that's George. Yeah, you got to talk to George. But what about with the film? Yeah, George knew about that. What about that? Yeah, George.
I really felt I should call film on the phone and say I've met someone. Because I really thought, okay, this is the future.
The issue is it's different. How is it different, and how do you use it to tell a story? It's up to the filmmaker.
And as you guys can see, like the digital age is really coming up, and it's only going to get better. And even though back in the day the cameras were expensive, even today, like even though it's much easier for digital, it also can be like expensive as well. So, but there's other options that you have because ultimately it's your story and that's what you want to show the viewers. Examples of the technology you can personally buy, and they're not that expensive, are the Canon T4i. And if you want to go 4K, that's built internally. What that means is you can actually record it through just the regular drive. And the Sony A7S, which you don't need lights, and you could actually just shoot like at night. And then also another digital thing that's changing is people, like the whole going to the movies is like it's still there, but now there's a new thing where like people want to stay at their house, and that's where Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube come in, where you guys can, in the comfort of your own house, you guys can watch movies live. Like some of them, like sometimes like come out straight into Netflix, and so instead of going to the movies, you're actually just there watching a brand new movie that's going straight there. And also, as far as YouTube, as a filmmaker, like usually we have to go through like festivals, and so like instead of going through festivals, we could actually just post straight to YouTube and actually share our work without throwing in money and whatnot. And so like as far as the digital age, these like online streaming is actually helping us. And as far as like learning the new technology, you can also go to YouTube, because who doesn't go to YouTube and search up a how-to video once in a while, And as far as like shooting your films, you don't necessarily need the money, but if you do, because of YouTube and you shooting and all these like consumer-based cameras, you're able to purchase like the camera and start a Indiegogo or Kickstarter and provide money so you can make it into an even bigger project. And so with these two type of things, like if you produce your video, you can actually get money, and pretty much like your video is gonna be seen by everybody. And then next, ultimately, people ask the question, with all this digital age technology, is it even necessary to even go to film school? For me, film school is like really important, because without film school, you don't network. And then pretty much like for going to film school, you set yourself up to, instead of making the mistakes of making your own film and going through that process, you cut that process and you learn from instructors on what they learned. And so from there on, it's just going to make it easier for you instead of going through those obstacles. And then this is just pictures of certain filmmakers that went to film school and did it. And as you can see, most of them are still making films today. And so here's a little quote: "Trying to make a feature film yourself with no money is the best film school you can do." Quoted by Quentin Tarantino, who's constantly still making videos and movies. And then Martin Scorsese: "As these directors show, film schools equip students with the tools they need to become successful." And so with this whole digital age going through, like we don't know when it's going to come to an end, because there's always going to be new innovations. But with these new innovations, we can all teach each other, and somebody will eventually teach you on how to equip or use the equipment. But the main thing is to always keep the traditional things alive, because that's what makes the film industry continue.